Did you ever imagine a single villain watching every universe like a chessboard, choosing when lives fall and worlds burn? What if the end of the Avengers was decided long before Endgame even ended? Today's leak doesn't just shake the MCU, it rewrites its destiny with Doctor Doom standing at the center of absolute control now. The most terrifying part of these leaks is not who dies, but who sees it coming. Doom is rumored to have discovered the observational plane, the same godlike vantage teased in What If, where reality becomes a screen and timelines become data. From there, incursions are no accidents, they are scheduled catastrophes by his unseen design. In Multiverse of Madness, we already saw the consequences of reckless dimensional travel when Doctor Strange triggered an incursion simply by crossing worlds. That single line of dialogue now feels like a loaded gun fired into the future. The leaks suggest Doom has studied thousands of such outcomes without ever leaving his throne in silent observation. Imagine a villain who doesn't rush into battle, who doesn't need to test his strength because every possible defeat has already been simulated. That is the version of Doctor Doom these rumors paint, a ruler who waits for the exact frame where hope peaks before crushing it. To him, the Avengers are variables, not heroes anymore. A strange source for this theory comes from an unexpected place, a Marvel light show that showcased concept visuals eerily similar to the Watcher's Chamber. Fans noticed symbols, shattered realities, and a throne overlooking collapsing universes. Many now believe that what looked like marketing spectacle was actually a soft reveal of Doom's true point of view. If Doom can see every branch of reality, then victories and defeats lose their meaning. Only outcomes matter. This is where the Endgame time heist returns as a cursed echo. Steve Rogers going back for his quiet life may have done more than change history, it may have fractured universes and drawn Doom's attention to Earth 616. That single choice at the lake, that shield laid at Sam Wilson's feet, might be the silent trigger for the war to end everything. The leaks claim Doom views Steve's retirement not as a noble ending, but as an irresponsible collapse of balance across timelines. To Doom, justice is not personal, it is mathematical and retaliation. Another shocking layer of the leak hints at Iron Man's shadow returning, not as resurrection but as variant. A simple Thanksgiving post from Robert Downey Jr.', showing two fists colliding, one iron, one armored in Doom style, has fueled wild theories. Not a reunion, but a confrontation across realities where technology and tyranny face their argument. The terrifying possibility is that this Iron Man is not our Tony, not the hero who snapped to end Thanos, but a version that failed and was reshaped by Doom. A genius who survived his universe's collapse and now believes Doom's order is the only path left is not an ally, it is a living apocalypse. At the same time, Benedict Cumberbatch's comments about Doctor Strange having more to do now feel like controlled signals. If Doom truly commands the observational plane, then Strange becomes either the greatest threat to that surveillance or the first sorcerer to understand its limits and one capable of moving through Doom's sight without being erased completely. The death rumors are what truly set the fandom on fire. Whispers suggest Steve Rogers may finally face consequences not as a symbol, but as a catalyst. Another leak places Bucky Barnes on the edge of that same blade. The idea that the shield bearer and his shadow could fall together feels poetic, brutal, and inevitable. One insider twist deepens the tragedy by linking Thor and Bucky through a shared fate involving their arms. It sounds strange until you remember Thor's journey from worthiness to loss, from hammer to storm. If Doom engineers symbolic punishments, then the loss of limb is not just injury, it is identity stripped away in cruelest way. Costume leaks may sound minor compared to death and multiversal collapse, but in Marvel storytelling, design is destiny. Thor's rumored sleeveless black armor with golden detail and a red hooded cape paints him not as a shining god, but as a dark knight of thunder. Even his hammer suggests a reforged legacy, heavier consequence than heroism. Sam Wilson's next Captain America suit reportedly stays close to his Falcon and the Winter Soldier design but adds a red Redwing, a sharp shift that feels like a warning in the sky. It signals a Captain America who no longer hides behind wings, but announces himself as the frontline symbol of resistance against Doom's tyranny. Captain Marvel's redesign leans into raw authority with red and dark blue tones, golden details, and short hair that mirrors the no-nonsense energy she brings into battle. This is not the cosmic wanderer searching for purpose anymore, this is a general of the skies prepared for kingdom-level war. Every visual change bends toward escalation, not celebration. But the most dangerous rumored alliance is built on grief and forbidden magic. The idea that Scarlet Witch and Dr. Doom may work together changes everything. Wanda seeking redemption while touching the Darkhold's corruption is a paradox Doom would exploit mercilessly. He wouldn't offer forgiveness, he would offer her a universe where her sins never happened. When you remember Wanda standing over a broken Camartage in Multiverse of Madness, crushing defenders like paper, the scale of what Doom could unlock through her becomes terrifying. He doesn't need her chaos as a blunt weapon, he needs it as a precision key to rewrite probability. With her power and his foresight, reality becomes door. All of this builds toward the central horror of the leak, the way Doom actually wins. Not by overpowering the Avengers, but by letting them exhaust every possible victory first. Every sacrifice and every last stand becomes another data point in his design. By the time the final battlefield arrives, Doom isn't reacting to the Avengers. Even the secrecy around Secret Wars feels deliberate in a darker way. The main cast not being revealed before Doomsday hints that what comes after is built on ashes. If audiences knew who survived, the terror would soften. By hiding the endgame of the endgame, Marvel preserves the illusion that everyone is equally doomed in silence. One pattern connects every rumored death, altered design, and hidden casting choice, and that pattern is inevitability. Doomsday is not framed as a battle to win, but as a downfall to endure. The Avengers may still fight with everything they have, but the tragedy hinted by these leaks suggests bravery becomes the final resource Doom allows. The most chilling theory suggests Doom's true goal is not domination of one universe, but authorship over all of them. By mastering the observational plane, he stops being a player and becomes the editor of reality. Heroes still punch and throw lightning, but Doom decides which pages of existence are permitted to be written by him. This reframes every rumored death in a far more horrifying light. These are not casualties of war, they are editorial decisions. Steve, Bucky, and perhaps others would not simply fall in battle, they would be removed because their stories no longer fit Doom's design. In that sense, Avengers Doomsday isn't just a title, it is sentence. If this leak even partly proves true, then Avengers Doomsday becomes less a crossover spectacle and more a cinematic execution. The heroes we grew up with are lined up not just for combat, but for judgment. Doom doesn't rage like Thanos, he calculates like a god who already knows the verdict. What makes him more terrifying? What hurts most is that many of these fates feel earned in the story logic, even when they devastate us emotionally. Steve paying for the quiet ending he stole, Bucky for a life of borrowed time, Thor for centuries of defiance, Wanda for forbidden love. Doom doesn't just kill in Doomsday, he collects unresolved debts forces. This is why the idea of Doom truly winning lands so heavily, not as a twist for the sake of shock, but as the logical endpoint of everything the multiverse saga has built toward. When you give one mind the power to observe all realities without consequence, the final consequence becomes inevitable for everyone else. Doomsday. And if Doom wins here, then Secret Wars stops being a rescue mission and becomes a rebellion against an established god. That changes the entire emotional framework of what comes next. The heroes would not be fighting to stop catastrophe, they would be fighting to overturn a regime that already proved absolute control over fate. Every leak and rumor seems to point toward one unsettling truth: Doomsday is designed as a story where loss outweighs victory. Even if the heroes technically survive the final frame, the emotional weight left behind will feel heavier than any previous MCU ending. This is Infinity War multiplied by foresight, where the villain knows tragedy. What makes these theories explode in popularity is how seamlessly they fit existing MCU logic. Nothing here feels random, it feels like the dark continuation of rules already established. Incursions exist, the observational plane was teased, variants rewrote identity, and heroes long paid for bending time. Doom simply becomes the first character smart enough to, and perhaps that is the most haunting idea of all, that Doom doesn't break the rules of the multiverse, he understands them completely. Where others experiment, he perfects. Where others react, he predicts. In a saga obsessed with chaos and consequence, Doom represents the quiet, terrifying endpoint of absolute knowledge. The universe doesn't end in. If all of this proves even half accurate, then Avengers Doomsday will not be remembered as just another crossover. It will be the point where the MCU fully embraces tragedy as a narrative engine, not a detour. A story where heroes don't climb back up immediately, but fall hard, so whatever rises next is built. As fans, we search for hope in every rumor, looking for the twist that saves everyone at the last second.